American people. The combative moments. Sessions pressed on meetings with the Russians, grilled on that moment in the Oval Office when the president asked everyone to leave except for James Comey. And he's asked, is the president recording conversations? Also breaking tonight, the young American prisoner on his way home from North Korea in a coma for more than a year. The urgent manhunt in this country, armed and dangerous, 2 escaped prisoners on the run, accused of killing 2 prison guards. The invisible danger, dozens of people sick in, the first warning sign when a woman collapses. Then one after another, they fall ill. Emergency teams rush to the scene. And the major break, the murder spree, the mother and her 2 daughters from college and another couple in their home. Tonight, the takedown.
This is ABC World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening, and it's great to have you with us here on a very busy Tuesday night. We begin with Attorney General Jeff Sessions on Capitol Hill under oath. He said he would defend his honor, calling any claims that he colluded with Russia a, quote, appalling and detestable lie. But he was also pressed about meetings with the Russians and that encounter in the Oval Office. When the Attorney General and everyone in the room was asked by the president to leave, everyone except for former FBI Director James Comey. ABC Senior Justice Correspondent Pierre Thomas leading us off.
In front of the cameras and the American people, Attorney General Jeff Sessions in the hot seat.
You solemnly swear to tell the whole the truth and the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Please.
Sessions defiant, saying he recused himself from the Russia investigation from the very start because he was on the Trump campaign.
I recuse myself from any investigation into the campaign for president, but I did not recuse myself from defending my honor against scurrilous and false allegations.
But Sessions was repeatedly pressed about any meetings with the Russians as a member of the Trump campaign, in particular a possible third meeting he never acknowledged, when then-candidate Donald Trump was to speak, and the Russian ambassador was there.
If any brief interaction occurred in passing with the Russian ambassador during that reception, I do not remember it. And the suggestion that I participated in any collusion, that I was aware of any collusion with the Russian government to hurt this country, which I have served with honor for 35 years, or to undermine the integrity of our democratic process is an appalling and detestable lie.
Pressed further, Sessions acknowledged there is video of the ambassador at the event.
In fact, I recently saw a video of him coming into the room.
But you never remember having a conversation or a meeting with Ambassador Kislyak?
I do not.
Senators also grilled Sessions on interactions between the fired FBI Director James Comey and the president. That meeting in the Oval Office when the president asked everyone, including the Attorney General, to leave and kept Comey there alone.
We were there. I was standing there, and without revealing any conversation that took place, what I do recall is that I did depart.
Sessions was then asked about what Comey told Congress and the country, that during that one-on-one meeting when the president allegedly asked him to go easy on former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn.
I believe it was the next day that he said something, expressed concern about being left alone with the president. But that in itself is not problematic.
Later, Sessions signed on to the recommendation that James Comey be fired. His reason, how Comey handled the Hillary Clinton email investigation. Even though the president said on network TV, Russia was on his mind when he fired Comey.
So do you concur with the president that he was going to fire Comey regardless of recommendation because the problem was the Russian investigation?
Senator Feinstein, I guess I'll just have to let his words speak for himself.
You'd had no verbal conversation with him about the firing of Mr. Comey.
I'm not able to discuss with you or confirm or deny the nature of private conversations that I may have had with the president.
Sessions repeatedly protecting any conversations he had with the president.
I believe the American people have had it with stonewalling.
I am not stonewalling. I am following the historic policies of the Department of Justice. I'm protecting the president's constitutional right by not giving it away before he has a chance to
You're having
view
it
it.
both
And
ways.
second,
Has the president invoked executive privilege in the case of your testimony here today?
he has not.
Then what is the basis of your refusal to answer these questions?
Senator Kaine, the president has a constitutional...
I understand that, but the president hasn't asserted it.
And then very bluntly, Sessions is asked, did Russia interfere with our presidential election?
Do you believe the Russians interfered with the 2016 elections?
It appears so.
Then Sessions was asked about whether he had meetings with a Russian businessman or other Russians.
I do want you to be honest.
And I'm not able to be rushed this fast. It makes me nervous.
And Pierre Thomas with us live tonight. The AG was then pressed on which long-standing Justice Department policy he was talking about when he repeatedly said he could not share conversations with the president and whether that policy was in writing. And Pierre, Republican Senator Marco Rubio asking very bluntly today, is the president recording conversations? Take a listen.
You know if the president records conversations in the Oval Office or anywhere in the White House?
I do not.
Let me ask you this. If, in fact, any president was to record conversations in their official duties in the White House or the like, would there be an obligation to preserve those records?
I don't know, Senator Rubio. Probably so.
So, Pierre, when will we learn if the tapes exist? And will the AG, as we learned tonight, will he provide that long-standing policy he cited that protects conversations with the president, even if the president hasn't invoked executive privilege?
David, the White House said they will soon give answers on whether those tapes exist, and the Attorney General said he will give additional answers about that long-standing policy, David.
Pierre Thomas leading us off tonight. Pierre, our thanks to you. And while Attorney General Jeff Sessions was testifying on Capitol Hill, President Trump was on a road trip to talk about jobs in this country, but following him all the way to Wisconsin, this question tonight. Is the president now considering firing Special Prosecutor Robert Mueller, who is now overseeing the Russia investigation? Here's ABC senior White House correspondent Cecilia Vega.
In the White House today, President Trump ignoring the question.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
That after his close friend Chris Ruddy, a conservative media mogul and ABC News contributor, said the president is indeed contemplating firing the man leading the investigation into possible ties between his campaign and Russia.
I think he's considering perhaps terminating the special counsel. I think he's weighing that option.
But the White House is pushing back, saying Ruddy does not speak for the president. House Speaker Paul Ryan jumping to Robert Mueller's defense.
I think the best thing to do is to let Robert Mueller do his job.
President Trump cannot directly fire Mueller himself, but he could instruct his Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein to do so. But today on Capitol Hill, Rosenstein said that is not happening.
I appointed him. I stand by that decision. I think it was the right thing to do under those circumstances, and I'm going to defend the integrity of that investigation.
Even if there's a direct order from the president.
Have you seen any evidence of good cause for firing of Special Counsel Mueller?
No, I have not.
And Cecilia Vega with us live tonight from the White House. And Cecilia, there's also breaking news on the effort to repeal and replace Obamacare. Congressional sources saying the president told Senate Republicans that the bill was passed by the House was, quote, mean. This according to the AP late today. What have you learned from the White House on this front?
And we have also confirmed that, David, the president also said that the bill that the Senate is working on should be, quote, more generous. Now, this after the president praised that bill, calling it a great plan, an incredibly well-crafted one. Tonight, David, from the White House, no denial, but sources here are telling me they will not comment about rumors about private conversations that may or may not have happened, David.
All right, so Cecilia, you just heard it from her there. The Senate version the president is hoping is, quote, more generous. Cecilia, thank you. Next to the other major headline at this hour, the American student on his way home right now after being released from captivity by the North Koreans. Otto Warmbier, sentenced last spring to 15 years hard labor for crimes against North Korea. His offense in this surveillance video, tearing down a poster to take home as a souvenir. His parents have been begging for his return, and since then, learning just last week that their son had been in a coma for more than a year. Here's ABC's chief foreign correspondent, Terry Moran.
This afternoon, the medevac plane bringing Otto Warmbier back to the U.S. touched down in Alaska, en route home to Cincinnati. His 17-month nightmare in North Korea finally over. Warmbier's release coming after secret talks in Oslo between U.S. and North Korean officials and the revelation last week that he is in a coma. It all began with this incident captured on North Korean security camera video. Warmbier allegedly trying to steal a propaganda poster like this one from the hotel he was staying at with a tour group. The 21-year-old college student was quickly arrested. His stunt considered a serious crime in that repressive country. And when he was brought to court weeks later, Warmbier tearfully pleaded for mercy.
Please, I have made the worst mistake of my life, but please, act to save me.
But the North Koreans showed no mercy. He was sentenced in March 2016 after a trial that lasted an hour. 15 years of hard labor.
Please save my life. Please think of my family.
His parents, after a year of keeping a low profile on the advice of U.S. officials, went on Fox and Friends last month.
Otto, we love you. You're an amazing guy. Hang in there, Tiger Boy. You're coming home.
Today, Secretary of State Rex Tillerson announced Warmbier's release.
At the President's direction, the Department of State has secured the release of Otto Warmbier from North Korea. He is on his way en route home to be reunited with his family.
All this bizarrely as Dennis Rodman arrived in North Korea, his 5th trip.
Just trying to open the door. Just open the door, that's it.
Some speculated that Rodman, a strong supporter of President Trump, was playing a role in Warmbier's release, but the State Department flatly denied it.
So let's get to Terry Moran with us live tonight from London. And Terry, the State Department saying late today that Dennis Rodman's visit had, quote, nothing to do with this release. Meanwhile, the medical evacuation plane carrying Otto Warmbier, that's expected to land on U.S. soil tonight.
That's right, David. Otto Warmbier is expected to arrive in Ohio late tonight and be immediately taken to the University of Cincinnati Medical Center. Otto's family released a statement today saying, in part, we want the world to know how we and our son have been brutalized and terrorized by the pariah regime. David?
Our chief foreign correspondent, Terry Moran, with us tonight. Terry, thank you. Home to the desperate manhunt going nationwide tonight. 2 inmates in Georgia overpowering their guards on a prison bus, killing them using the officers' own weapons. The inmates then getting away in a stolen vehicle they carjacked. Officials now warning they are armed and dangerous. And here's ABC's Steve Osunsami.
Georgia authorities tonight tell us that the inmates who got away after murdering 2 prison guards are out running around with .40 caliber Glocks and could kill again.
They need to surrender before we find them. I saw 2 brutally murdered corrections officers. That's what I saw. I have their blood on my shoes.
Putnam County Police are desperately searching for these 2 fugitives, 43-year-old Donnie Rowe and 24-year-old Ricky Dubose. Both are career criminals who are serving hard time, and police say one of them is a member of the Ghost-Faced Gangsters, a white supremacist prison gang.
There's a deputy on the scene, assuming that the shooters have escaped.
The bus ride from where they escaped early this morning was unscheduled and was moving 33 inmates from one prison to another. Police say the 2 men broke through a locked barrier and back and attacked prison transfer sergeants Christopher Monica and Curtis Ballou. Both leave behind devastated families tonight. They were killed with one of their own guns.
Be advised, they carjacked a white male in a gray Honda automobile.
Police here are determined to find this green Honda that they were last seen in. Late this afternoon, they believe they broke into a home north of here and changed clothes. David?
Steve Osunsami with us. Steve, thank you. And next to a chaotic and potentially deadly scene here in New York City, after reports of a carbon monoxide leak, more than 30 people injured, 1 critically. And the first clue that came in, the woman who collapsed in front of everyone. ABC's Gio Benitez on the scene tonight.
Tonight, a scare in one of New York's busiest neighborhoods as carbon monoxide in a building just 3 blocks from the World Trade Center began seeping through the floors. Those inside overcome, escaping outside and laying down on the street, trying to catch their breath.
In the first floor and basement, people were passed out and people were out in the street at that time.
32 sickened in all as authorities rushed in to contain the emergency. This 65-year-old store manager with leukemia carried 6 people on his shoulders up 2 flights of stairs.
I had to go back downstairs. There was 2 ladies still downstairs, and luckily I was able to bring them upstairs.
It all began at 8:22 a.m. 911 callers initially believing this package, which had been opened near the leak, caused people to collapse, but the bomb squad cleared that package.
We found a defective boiler down in the basement with some kind of broken pipe that was produced in the CO.
And David, those 32 people are recovering tonight. They're expected to be okay. Officials say carbon monoxide levels here were so high that they could knock out a person after just 2 or 3 breaths. David?
Gio Benitez with us. Gio, thank you. And next tonight, the heat wave closing schools in the east. A tornado watch also in effect. More than 30 reported tornadoes in the past 24 hours. This one destroying a building in southeast Wyoming. Let's get to meteorologist Rob Marciano tracking it all for us tonight. Rob, good evening.
Hi, David. Just sizzling here in the Northeast. 99-degree record high in Newark, but a cold front's dropping south, and we got storms firing across New England, upstate New York, and the Ohio Valley. And that larger system that brought the tornadoes yesterday is going to prove for an active evening across the plains, especially in Nebraska and South Dakota. And that all moves to the east tomorrow. Bigger cities under the gun: Chicago, St. Louis, Kansas City. They'll stay hot through the week. The Northeast, thankfully, will cool down a good 20, 25 degrees. That'll feel good. David?
All right, we're waiting for it. Rob Marciano, our thanks to you. There's still much more ahead on World News Tonight this Tuesday. The alleged murder spree, the major break in the case, the mother whose 2 daughters from college found dead. Another couple killed in their home as well. Tonight, you'll see the takedown coming up here in a moment. Also, breaking developments in the texting suicide trial. The young woman who was in high school at the time, accused of urging her boyfriend in a text to take his own life. And the dangerous police chase on the highway, the driver trying to escape off the